Have you ever asked yourself, what is my personality type? And are you curious to why you react the way that you do, your relationships jive the way that they do, and maybe even that you have some preferences that you absolutely need to be in place to be comfortable in specific situations? Well, if that's you and you're not sure of what your personality type is, I'm gonna ask you to stay with my video because today, that's exactly what we are talking about, specifically the Myers-Briggs personality testing. And at the end of this video, I have a Myers-Briggs personality quiz for you to take. It's coming your way right now. Well, hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you've been here for a bit, if you are new, I am super glad that you are here today. My name is Lauren and my channel is all about making beauty easy for the girl who thinks that she can't. My hope today is that you will consider subscribing and hit that notification bell so that you can get alerts every single time I upload new videos, which is every single Friday and now the fourth Tuesday of the month and the third Thursday of the month. With that said, I'm really excited to dive into our first Transform Your Mind Tuesday, and that is what today's video is. And our topic is gonna be personality testing. And so you might be asking, like, Lauren, why in the world are we talking about personality testing when your whole topic is going to be based upon transforming your mind? And you know what? If you're asking that, it's a really valid question, and there's a couple reasons why. So specifically, I wanna talk about Myers-Briggs today. If you've ever taken any personality test before, there's tons out there. I've taken the DISC test, and I've taken even some others when I was like in the corporate world, but those tests really don't explain to you your internal wiring. They're really more for like work life. And what I want to do with personality testing is give you more of like a life on why you're made up the way that you are, like relationally, what careers are best for you, how you handle conflict and why you might react in the ways that you do when things present themselves. Are you afraid of conflict? Do you embrace it? All of those kinds of things. And to be honest with you, Myers-Briggs personality testing changed everything for me, because when I figured out who I was with that, like how I was made and wired, I was like, wow, this is really just super revelational. And I had so many light bulb moments after I took this test. And so I personally think that this is like the basis for what you need to know about yourself in order for us to get into some really like heavy topics or meat and potatoes on this topic of doing something with transforming your mind when we're talking about body image and self-image and insecurities and feeling worthy and hustling for your worth. All of those things I really think boil down to, I need to know who I am first. So I've written down some notes over here and I've got my laptop out because I want to explain to you a little bit about Myers-Briggs if you're not familiar with it. And then what you can do actually is take the test, because I've listed it down in the description box below. And I've also given you some resources. And let me just say this, some of the websites are a little old and clunky. They really need some updating. So they're not the prettiest things to look at, but the information that you will learn, especially once you know your type, is so valuable that I think you'll really absolutely love that. And so I wanted to make sure that you had those resources and you didn't have to go hunting for that after you left this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is why you need to know your personality type. And this is so very important. I think the reason why I feel like this is so important and why I kind of wanted to, I got to shift on my couch, you guys, sorry. Oh, I bumped it. I'm sorry, I bumped the camera. I think there's so many reasons why this is super important, and I want to give you a few that I think you need to know. The reason why I think this is so important is because Myers-Briggs really helped me to understand like the internals of how I am, like how my preferences are for the world to work, how my preferences are for relationships to work, how my preferences are on like career fields. I think this is a common question that I hear all the time. I think a lot of people are not happy in their jobs. They don't love what they do. They really just, they live for the weekend, that kind of thing. And one of the first things I always think about when someone tells me that is I always go, I wonder what their personality type is, and if because of that they're in the wrong career field, or they're in the right career field but they're in the wrong job for what they want to do. So it's things like that that Myers-Briggs really helped me to learn about myself, and I was like, wow, this is super empowering for me to know how I function. So the other reason is that you actually will know yourself better. Like you're gonna have more of an internal understanding of how you experience the world around you. And I think this is so important to know, because if you don't understand those things and you're constantly frustrated with yourself on how you react to certain situations, maybe you're frustrated relationally, and let's be really honest, you're frustrated with yourself because you're not happy with who you are. Maybe the reason that starts from is because you don't even know how you're wired and how you're made in the first place, for you to even embrace things about you that are strengths, and then for you to understand the weaknesses that you struggle with and figure out out ways that are healthy to combat those things over time. So this is really why this is so important to me and why I kind of wanted to share that with you. So let me look at my notes and make sure I haven't missed anything. And then I want to talk about what the whole personality typing is if you haven't done Myers-Briggs. So just doing a brief overview here. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention is that this will also help you. This is a huge thing, and we'll talk about this again as we continue to dive deeper into this topic. That is my ultimate goal. We're gonna talk about things like this, creating better boundaries. When I figured out myself and was like, oh wow, I have some unhealthy ways of relating to the world around me and people, and there's toxic people in my life who I don't need to be there, and oh my gosh, like this helped me to even learn. It was like the start of me learning how to even create better boundaries for myself so that I can protect me. So at the end of the day, my goal in this is for you to be confident in yourself, for you to have exceptional relationships with people, and for you to pursue your dreams, because you were made for something incredible. You are fearfully and wonderfully made on top of that, and there's a purpose and plan in for your life. And if you're not sure of what that is, we kind of have to start at the basics before we can build into all of the big things that Transform Your Mind Tuesday is gonna be. So that's why we're doing this today. So let's actually dive into the 4 letters that are gonna make up your personality type. So basically it goes like this. There's the first one is you're either gonna be an E or an I, and E means extrovert and I means introvert. If you're not familiar with what those are, let me just kind of briefly describe them. Extroverts are energized by people. They enjoy a variety of tasks, a quick pace, and are good at multitasking. I's are introverts. They often like working alone or in small groups. They prefer a more deliberate pace and like to focus on one task at a time. This one is typically one that most people go, oh, I know exactly what I am. But I will say this, I've had so many friends take this over the years, and sometimes the results actually will surprise you. And I'll let you know my personality type as we get to the end here, and a few strengths and a few weaknesses, so you guys can kind of learn a little bit about me too. The next letter is S or N, and so S is a sensor. So sensors are realistic people who like to focus on the facts and details. They apply common sense and past experience to find practical solutions to problems. N means you're an intuitive. So an intuitive prefers to focus on possibilities, the big picture, you easily see patterns, as well as you value innovation and you seek creative solutions to solve problems. So those are S or N, and I will say this, I'm an S personality, and one of my weaknesses has been if I have had bad things happen to me in the past, sometimes that's how I'll look at the future. And I'll go, oh man, but this happened, and what if history repeats itself? And I can tend to focus too much on how that past experience was. So that's kind of a weakness that I'm just sharing off the bat, just because when I read that, I was like, oh, I do that. So that's one. The next letter is T or F, so thinker or feeler. Thinkers tend to make their decisions using logical analysis, objectively weigh pros and cons, and value honesty, consistency, and fairness. And then feelers, you guys are gonna be, and I say you guys, I'm a feeler too. Feelers tend to be sensitive and cooperative, and they decide based on their own personal values and how others will be affected by their actions. My husband and I are both deep feelers, and this is really great in our relationship, and it's also an absolute disaster. So I'll kind of talk about that as we go too. And the last letter is J or P. So if you're a J, you're a judger, and don't freak out by that word. That does not mean you sit just judging people. That is not what it means. I'm gonna talk about it. So judgers mean you tend to be organized and prepared. You like to make and stick to plans and are most comfortable following most rules. I'm a J, big hard J coming at you, all right? A P, a perceiver, is someone who perceivers prefer to keep their options open. They like to be able to act spontaneously, and they like to be flexible with making plans. That life scares me. So if you're a P, congratulations, I love you, but that life freaks me out, and my husband, of course, is a P. So those are the letters that you're gonna get, and when you take this test, you're going to get 4 letters, and that's gonna actually give you a personality type. And then this is when your world is just gonna be like completely turned upside down, and you'll be mind blown by the results, because you're gonna go, oh my gosh, now all these things about me make sense. So for me, I am an E, I'm an extrovert. I am an S, I'm a sensor. I am a J, a judger. Oh no, wait, a feeler first, and then a J, judger. So I'm an ESFJ. So the perfect person to describe my personality type, when I started learning about myself, I was like, I wonder what celebrities are ESFJs, and there's a lot of them out there, but the one that stuck out with me was Monica Geller's character from Friends is based off of an ESFJ, and so that made me laugh and also feel pretty good about myself, because I've been called Monica my whole life. I'm not as neurotic as she is, or her character was, but I am definitely a Monica personality, and so in saying that, it's kind of funny, because I started to go, oh wow, okay, that's why I do those things, and like I said, my friends have called me me that my whole life. So I have a very strong personality. I see life in black and white. Like there's not a lot of gray in my life. I have a very strong sense of right and wrong and left or right. It's black or white. It's this or that. And my husband and I always joke about it because he's a lot of gray and I'm very black and white. Okay, so as an ESFJ, I have some amazing strengths and then I have some really hard weaknesses that I have to work on. And I wanted to share a couple strengths with you guys and then a couple of weaknesses, because this is what you really need to embrace about yourself, is that, again, you were created with an absolute plan and purpose. The way that you're wired is not wrong. I don't care what personality type you are, you're not wired wrong. There's a reason that you are the way that you are. And so my goal is to help you figure that part out today so that going forward, as we continue to dive into deeper topics on Transform Your Mind Tuesday, you have a really good basis for who you are and you're comfortable with that piece of yourself. And so for me, for many years, I was like, man, I'm just so different than other people. And, I can, one of the negative things that I had to learn to overcome is I used to be kind of a bulldog about everything. And I still have very strong convictions, but I live life differently now than how I used to. But I just thought, man, there's not, people just aren't wired like that. Or, I'm just kind of a mess. Like I'm so different. And why do I think like this, and why do I have to say things a certain way for me to be happy or comfortable? And when I took this test and realized, like, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I was actually created this way and it does serve a purpose. And so that's the whole goal here today, is that you kind of get comfortable with that. So let me give you a couple of my strengths. So an ESFJ has a strong sense of right and wrong, as I already mentioned, easily empathizes with another person, is able to share feelings with other people, cares greatly about the welfare of others, open, honest, and forthright about the way that they see things. And some of my weaknesses are kind of as follows. May be unable to acknowledge anything that goes against their certainty about the correct or right way to do things. That is something I have to work on all of the time. It's just innately in me. Like, this is the way the world works, this is how it should be, and I'm staunch about it. And so I have to constantly work on that. And so what I've come to realize over the years is that I have my own beliefs that, are convictions for me. But where I'm at in my life now is like, I have all of that, but I so support the right for someone to figure that out for themselves. And used to, I was not like that, especially in my early 20s. I was just like, nope, it should be this way. This is how it is. And I've definitely changed a lot. But this test is what helped me go, oh, that's a problem. That is seriously a problem. So one of the other ones is maybe unable to understand verbal logic and quickly cut off others' explanations. I have done that too. So these are some of the things that I have to constantly think about and work on a regular basis. And I can remember a few years ago when I took this test, I was an unhealthy version of an ESFJ. All of these things that are weaknesses, they were my go-to first response on everything. And when I realized that, I was like, ooh, this is not good. These are the things that need to change. These are the things that negatively impact my relationships. These are the things that negatively impact me as a person, and I need to change and work on these things. So as I started to continue to kind of dive into just learning more about myself, and honestly, for many years, I saw a therapist and learned so much. I am not a psychology major by any form or fashion or stretch of the word, but through counseling and learning about proper ways to just create new habits, and then that becomes my my go-to response. I don't tend to, I read these now, I'm sitting here doing this on camera for the first time in a while, reading this stuff going, wow, I don't react that way anymore. And I can remember a time when I used to. And so this is kind of the stuff that I'm looking to really empower you with. And I wanted to start here today because I think it is so very important to know your personality type and really understand the way that you function, the way that you prefer to receive information, the way that you prefer to deal with things in the world and all of that. I think it's so vastly important. So here's my question for you. Once you take the test that's in the description box, I want to know what your personality type is. And the second thing I want to know is what surprised you the most? What did you go, holy crap, that is totally me? And then what thing do you kind of need to work on? What's that thing that you go, man, that really hit my heart, and I see that I do that a lot and I really need to work on that because it's not good for me and it's not good for my relationships. So that is what I want to know down in the comments below. So I hope this video has been super intriguing for you today to go, yeah, girl, I do not know my personality type and I need to know what it is. because again, as we dive deeper into this topic, I'm so excited about it. I have so many great things coming for you guys over this year with Transform Your Mind Tuesday. I really wanted to make sure that you have such a good sense of who you are, and I'll probably refer back to this video several times just because if you don't know that, if you don't have that basis, I really think it's gonna be tough to try and overcome some things because you're just gonna get frustrated with yourself, because sometimes it's really hard, especially with those weaknesses, to go, oh man, why is that always my first response? But then what's really great is you can see all of your strengths and you can go, oh my gosh, these are amazing things about me, and these are the things that I want to continue to develop. So with the resources that are below, I think it's 16personalitytypes.com, and then it's I don't know, it's down, I'll list it below because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But basically, when you click into these websites, the one that's really clunky, you'll see it as soon as you click on it. What I want you to do is click careers, click relationships, and what you have to do is scroll down a little bit and actually select your personality type, and then you can actually read about yourself. So make sure you do that, because each one of those, you'll see the portrait section, and the portrait is gonna give you an overall about your personality, and then of course you can learn about your career, learn about your relationships. If you are married or you've got a boyfriend, like figure out what they are too and see how your types relate to each other. Have them take this test because it'll help you in your relationship. It talks about how you're gonna raise kids. So if you've got kids and you wanna know more about that, it's gonna talk about all those kinds of preferences. So really use those resources down below and let me know in the comments, of course, what was the most surprising thing or the most like, oh my gosh, yeah, that nailed it. Like all of those kind of things. Let me know. I wanna have conversation with you down in the comments. All right, so if you enjoyed this video today, I want you to give this video a giant thumbs up because you know that it helps me out so very much. And of course, if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel, did I say that right? Subscribe. I talk fast sometimes and words just like don't flow. Subscribe to my channel, then I'm gonna ask that you do that now so that you don't miss out on any future videos, and obviously Transform Your Mind Tuesdays. You don't wanna miss them. And of course, connect with me on social media. I do have a private Facebook community where girls like you and me get together and we shoot the breeze on Masking Mondays, which is a night that we actually just mask and I get on live, we do a mask, we chat for a little bit. I also do my show Contour and Converse on that platform, which is a live makeup look that I create in real time with you, and it's such a great way to just chill, communicate. We just sit back, relax, have a Coke and a smile, and we do our thing on that platform. So if you haven't had a chance to do that, you can actually search Reformed Tomboy Beauty on Facebook, or you can click the link down in the description box. And I think that's gonna be it. So until next time, I will see you in my next video. #Reformed Tomboy Family. I'll see you soon.